our regular scheduled board of education meeting for Monday, May 5th. Please stand for pledge of allegiance.
Have Matt Law, Mr. Reed, Jackie Clark, Mr. President, Cameron Harris, Anthony Diaz, Nicholson, and Rebecca Bridgewater, and also Lindsay. We have our student reps ready. Thank you.
Do you have a motion to approve our special board of ed meeting for April 2nd, 2025? Motion is second. All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. And a motion to approve our special board of education meeting for April 7th, 2025. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it. And a motion to approve our regular board of education meeting for April 7th, 2025. All in favor? Ayes have it. And we have a a motion to approve our special board ed meeting for April 22nd, 2025. All in favor? Please. Ayes have it. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, we have an amendment to, let's see, move from table to approve items 1 through 25, and then items 27 through 28.
Okay, so we have the amendments to the agenda credit consent calendars for items 1 through 25. Item 26, which is bylaw 9321, time, place, and notice of meetings will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion, and then including 27 and 28 as part of tonight's agenda. So with that being said, there are a motion to approve our consent calendar this. Motion is second, all in favor? Ayes have it. Thank you. Are there any written communications to the board?
Yes. Let's see. Members of the East Hartford Public Schools employees, all the employees, are invited to join the Town of East Hartford Employees Farm Share CSA program. And it's a great program. The farm that they will be using is Killam and Bassett Farmstead LLC in Glastonbury. It's a great opportunity for folks to be able to buy into a local share, half share of produce with our local farm. So if you have any questions, and some of you may have already received an email regarding this, but if you have any questions, please contact Terry Jones, who is the benefits manager for the Town of East Hartford, at tjones@easthartfordct.gov.
Thank you for that. All right, student representatives, come on up. Is there a microphone? Just make sure this microphone.
Everyone wants to place on April 23rd in the Central School Auditorium. Jesus and students are examining. On April 24th, it was the Alzheimer's Strings concert. 80 tests are going on from today through May 16th. Teacher Appreciation Week is also this week. There's raffles going on all week, and to celebrate the teachers each day there's a different event going on. So today was Battle of the Beads, and teachers were just trying to get the most beads by beating each other up with scissors. Tuesday is Wellness Day. Wellness vendors and massages will be coming, and a donut truck will be coming tomorrow. On Wednesday, there's an ice cream truck. On Thursday, staff appreciation breakfast. And Friday is the square peg truck. On May 1st was the spring band concert. And May 9th and May 10th is the Greater Hartford Invitational Track Meet. It will be held at East Hartford High School, and almost 50 schools will be playing, so it's a really big event. May 29th is the service level barbecue, and students who have a certain amount of hours in each grade will be attending. If you have 50 hours as a freshman, you get invited. If you have 30 hours as a sophomore, you get invited. If you have 50 hours as a junior, you get invited. And the principal, Mr. Ryan, will be there, and there's extra food and stuff to celebrate. On May 21st, there's a scholarship breakfast. Any students who earned a scholarship are invited to this breakfast as a celebration. On May 22nd, Chinese Honor Society induction ceremony will be held. And on May 27th, the 64th annual Top 20 dinner will be held, and they all get to invite a teacher and have an impact on them. And they give a speech about the current path and their future plans. And then prom ticket sales started this week or last week, and they will still be going on later in the month, and then prom will be on May 30th.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for our student representative? Aaron, thank you. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to participate at this time? Seeing none. I'll keep my comments brief. So happy Teacher Appreciation Week to our amazing teachers. Thank you for being the heart of our school. Your passion, creativity, and dedication is the light of every classroom. So we are proud to have the best in the business, and we appreciate everything you do for our students. So thank you. I'll turn it over to you, Superintendent.
Good evening. First, we will start off with Mr. Broder. So ask him to come up and share some words as a welcome. We'll probably be here at Goodwin this evening.
Thank you. To welcome you to Goodwin School, we have a pair of fourth grade twins who'd like to say a few words, and then a pair of 13th grade twins who'd like to say a few words, all of them former Goodwin Gators.
My name is Clara. Welcome to Goodwin School. I have been going to this school since I was in kindergarten. I think this is a great school because I have learned a lot and made a lot of friends. And I was taught how to play the viola, and the principal supports me and my family. And the teachers work hard to take care of us. My name is Kylie, and I have been going to Goodwin School since I was in kindergarten. I think Goodwin School is a great school to go to because the teachers here are nice and we have a great principal. I am now in fourth grade and in Mrs. Paul's class. I also think Goodwin School is a great school to go to because I have learned a lot, including how to play the violin. I also made a lot of friends. Those are all the reasons I think Goodwin School is a great school.
All right, so my name is Georgiana Zabrowski, and I'm in 13th grade at the University of Connecticut. And I was at Goodwin, I was a JO Goodwin Gator, Gator Pride Strong. So when Mr. Broder called and told us about this opportunity to come speak about Goodwin, my mom called me and told me she got a 622 number call coming, and she's like, oh my God, what did you do? Like, did you do something at the high school? They're just figuring out now, like, what happened? And I was like, I don't know. And we realized that Mr. Broder just wanted to have us come in and speak about how a great experience we had at Goodwin and how it really set us up for all of our success in high school. So to just share a little bit about myself, went to East Hartford Public Schools all my life. I feel like I have learned so much about education, but also like social skills that a lot of my other friends who didn't go to East Hartford Public Schools maybe didn't get to experience. The involvement there is in East Hartford Public Schools is just amazing. I feel like there's so many opportunities to take advantage of. And I was so happy to hear that my presence was wanted back here, because for anyone who does not know, I was a little troublemaker in kindergarten through about maybe 4th grade. I was always in Mr. Broder's office causing trouble, so I was surprised that I was welcomed back here with open arms. So I appreciate everyone giving me the opportunity to speak about how much I loved Goodwin. So this is my sister.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. So my name is Christiana Zembrowski. I graduated from Goodwin in 2017, wore my Goodwin green today, just for the occasion, was also very excited to come back and talk. I believe that Goodwin was definitely one of the most fundamental aspects of my character, in that its education had a very lasting impact on me. So I attend Harvard University now, and I actually wrote my college essay on my 4th grade and 5th grade teacher that I had at Goodwin, Ms. Denicourt. And I haven't had the chance to share with her yet, but to sum it up, I basically just wrote about how that transformative experience I had in elementary school was so applicable. It led me into broader concepts like philosophy, which I plan on concentrating in now, in English, and how these skills that you learn at a young age are really transferable to your character in the future. And I really think that just sums up Goodwin as a whole, that the fact that I remember it so fondly enough that I could write my college essay about it 8 years later. Like when I would give it to teachers, I'd be like, how do you even remember these memories so vividly? And all I can say is that it was just such a fond time in my life that it was something I felt compelled to write about. And it's something that I carry very close to my heart. I love repping East Hartford everywhere I go. It's such a great opportunity in college to attend a school where people come from so many different backgrounds, and I get to share that part of myself that is so unique and that so many people don't know about East Hartford, and I just get to tell its story over and over again to people I meet all across the country, all across the world, and it's something I'm so grateful for, and I'm so grateful that I have such a fond memory, and I can only thank East Hartford Public Schools for setting me up for success and being able to attend in an institution such as the one that I attend now, because I'm just so incredibly thankful for it, and I only have my education from this town. I've attended my whole life at schools here, so just really thankful, and I love East Hartford Public Schools, so that's really my main point for today, is just say thank you. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, girls. Thank you very much, girls. She was lying about the troublemaker till 4th grade part. It's 5th grade. So Mrs. Jenkins knows, I think it's very safe piano. She was a young man who used to play some tunes. We have the privilege of listening to David Vera de la Cruz, who's going to play a nice little springtime song. Hope it's get us out of the rainy mood and into the springtime mood. David.
Thank you very much, Mr. Broder. Anything else you have to share?
You did. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you very much.
So this is when we decided to try to do meetings in buildings. These are this is the evidence that we want people to be able to see, hear, and experience. because these are the things that are happening in our schools on a daily basis. So being able to have the young ladies speak today and the young gentlemen play the piano, this is what our school system is about. So again, we appreciate putting that together and having them come. We know they have to leave because they have exams starting tomorrow, I think, in Chatterley in the hall. So just a few things as we get to the next piece. I know there, again, as we normally do some of our recognition, I know we have a short video to share about this young lady, Josie Tedesco.
Hey Josie, I'm a fifth grader from O'Connell Elementary School in East Hartford, Connecticut. Today I'll be making a yummy yogurt bowl. First step to make the yogurt bowl, you have to wash your hands first. The ingredients you need for the yummy yogurt bowl is yogurt, bananas, strawberries, blueberries, and coconut. The first step to make your yogurt bowl is to scoop the yogurt into your bowl. I am wearing a cutting glove to protect my fingers and a plastic glove for food safety. Next up, you will grab your strawberries, and first you will wash your strawberries, and when you're done washing them, you will cut them next. Now we will place the strawberries in the bowl. Next step is to grab your washed blueberries and put them in the bowl. Next step is to grab your banana, then peel it, and then we will cut it. Next, we put the bananas in our yogurt bowl. For the last step, you will put the shredded coconut in your yogurt bowl. And this is your yummy yogurt bowl. I curated this recipe because it had all my favorite foods in it and I wanted other people to try it. Yummy!
So Josie is a finalist in the chef's competition. And as we bring the screen back up, I just want to remind everyone to go onto the website that you'll see in a second and vote for her by May 9th. Yeah, so right there. So public voting is May 1st through the 9th as it ends at futurechefschallenge.com. All right, and then we'll get into our normal spotlight. So we have Jennifer Kelly, first grade teacher at Norris Elementary, and just reminding everyone, individuals are selected from their school leadership, from their principal, or from someone else that's there in their department that recognize them for this opportunity to be showcased.
Ready? You're going to tell me some words. Warm up your brains.
I am Jen Kelly, and I am a first grade teacher at Norris Elementary. I've been teaching for 20 years. I've done every grade level, bar fourth, and most of my career now has been as a first grade teacher. Our days are fun. Our days are filled with music and movement because I feel that that's one way that children can learn best.
The students respond to that. They love how enthusiastic Mrs. Kelly is and how engaging she is. And she models that learning is fun and that learning is exciting.
I sometimes say we're organized chaos, but I am very structured and I like the students to be very structured. And I just absolutely adore that spark that you can kind of see in their eyes when they learn something new. The growth you see from the beginning of first grade to the end, it's just night and day. You really see the kids become learners.
She is a teacher who recognizes the importance of maximizing the time that she has with her students. She is a teacher who always gets the results. She is urgent, she is prepared. Every day she's looking for a new strategy to support students to get them to where they need to be.
I love the students. I couldn't do this if it wasn't for the kids. My goal is to, help my students become the best that they can be. I look at school as a dress rehearsal for life. And I feel that the students are here to amass as much knowledge as they can and to make connections between that knowledge so that as they move forth, they're confident and successful in anything that they do.
This is the quickest way to clear out stuck poop.
I have to poop, but it feels stuck. Stop! Are you trying
As we get into the future, we'll be embedding the videos in the PowerPoint, so we're not going to watch some of these ads. So next we'll have, as it pops up, is Stephen Louie, who's the lead maintainer for our building services team. And again, like we said, we try to balance the levels of recognition.
My name is Stephen Louie. I'm the lead maintainer for East Hartford Public Schools. It's been 25 years. I started November 1st of 2000, working nights as a custodian at the high school, transferred to O'Connell, and then a maintainer position opened up and I put in for that and I love it. We deal with almost every aspect of East Hartford Public Schools. It could be transportation of equipment, it could be repairs of the building, it can be plowing. We come in the morning and we have our agenda and our agenda changes frequently and we just roll with it.
All the buildings will put in their building requests, so he has to balance the time that he needs on the computer getting the crew set up and also doing all the work that he needs to do. He's still a pivotal part of the maintenance repair work.
We try to prioritize on a safety basis and then necessity after that. But I kind of don't stress too much. I just kind of can roll with things. Like if something comes across, it might be a little annoying, but guess what? We just have to deal with it and move through it. I have a great team between my guys, management, everybody works together.
He's also very good with people. Whenever people call us, most of the time it's not because their day's going good. It's because their day's going bad. They need something fixed. They need something delivered. They're wondering where this is. They're wondering what about that. And he's always able to just handle it. Very calm, very cool, and courteous always.
I like my job. I have, again, a great team. And the fact that we do something different every day. There's no monotony to this job. It's something different every single day.
You're listening to Brain FM. We mix neuroscience.
I think that people need to remember sometimes is that the individuals that take care of fixing things, or preparing and being proactive and getting it ready, it's a tremendous effort and it's a tremendous team. And because if the lights and the boilers didn't work, we wouldn't be able to have a teaching and learning process. So I think it's critically important that we kind of recognize everyone for all the roles that they play. And so I'm going to turn it over now to Ellen Delgado, one of the assistant superintendents. And I thought it was important because we talk about some of the results, but in terms of the assessment overview. So we're in May, and it's important for individuals to know or remember that it's a testing window. So we know that AP exams are going on at the high school level from the 5th until the 16th, but from the elementary, middle schools, you have state testing. And I thought it's important to be able to hear some of this.
Talk like this, okay? Do I need the microphone or is everybody okay? Is that your projection? Okay, very good. Can you just be?
Use the mic. We'll take that real fast. This way it's guaranteed.
Okay, better? Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is an overview to kind of give a little bit of context to some of our spring
state assessments, but in the world of teaching and learning, we always talk about curriculum assessment and instruction. Assessment provides many roles within our decision-making, within our curriculum, within how we help our students. So as we are going through, we have assessment types. So today we're really talking about the state assessments that you see at the bottom, but all of the assessment types are important. We have benchmark assessments, formative and summative assessments, diagnostic assessments. These are all pieces that exist within our curriculum, within our scope and sequence to align to our standards, to figure out where our students are, where they need extra help. And benchmark assessments happen 3 times a year. And towards the end of the year, it makes it feel like it's very assessment heavy, but we are a very planful, very targeted, purposeful district. And what we do is we have an assessment calendar that runs pre-K through 12, and we get windows from the state. We have windows within our own benchmarking system so that students are experiencing assessment where it belongs within the teaching and learning. So part of the examples that are here, these are a lot of data points that you would hear, like DIBELS or the math skills assessment, the common lit assessments, our IABs, AP tests, some diagnostic assessments that we use when we're looking to help students with specific skills in their learning trajectory. And that also informs our intervention systems and our progress monitoring systems. And then our state assessments that are really the topic of this overview with SATs, Smarter Balanced, and GSS. They're all abbreviations, and they all stand for the different components that we assess our students on, typically starting in grade 3 and above. They go from grade 3 all the way up through 12th grade in our state accountability assessments. We also have the Connecticut Physical Fitness Assessment. It does fit into this, under this umbrella. It fits into the testing window. It is an assessment that has entry all across the school year. It does have a cutoff, but it allows us the entire school year to be able to get that accomplished. So this is really the crux of what we wanted to give an overview of as we look at the assessment schedule for the state assessments for the spring. And you notice that it kind of starts in at the January-February timeline where we have our last links assessment and our Connecticut alternative assessment of English language proficiency. So those kind of start in the winter window. The state gives a very, very wide window. East Hartford edits and kind of reduces that into where it fits the best for our students so that we're not too assessment heavy. We go into March where we're taking the next generation science standards assessment that they start out in grade 11. And then we move through April, and then the students in 5th and 8th grade take those as well. We have our SAT school day that happens in April, as well as the beginning of our alternate assessments for Smarter Balanced with the Connecticut Alternative Assessment and the Connecticut Alternate Assessment for Science. And then here now we're in May, and we have our grades 3 through 8 taking alternate assessments, Smarter Balanced assessments, and alternating by content. So they might start out with the ELA assessment, and then the following week they would do the math assessment, and then the following week they would do the math performance task. So if you bring it all the way down to the scope and the lens of perhaps a 5th grader, that they're looking to take 3 different tests across about a 3-week period, and then the previous month they would have taken their science test, so that it doesn't feel test heavy. And then you also have the timing of these assessments, how long they take, and remembering that the Smarter Balanced assessment is untimed. There's a time estimate. Students have as long as they need to complete that. That being said, the adults in the room are always monitoring because it's as much time as you need to skillfully and strategically complete the assessment. It's just not a never-ending loop. So some of these assessments they're all done on computers. The last links assessment, also remember that peaks in kind of starting in that January, February timeline, and that assesses reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So there are 4 components of that state assessment. The important piece of what we do with this data is that we utilize the data results that we get as part of our Next generation accountability system, that's the 12 indicators with which our district is rated and scored on. And we look at that assessment data. We look specifically at the achievement, we look at growth, we look at cohorts, and then that fits into our bigger picture of assessments. As we started with looking at formative assessments, benchmarking assessments, they all work together to give the profile of our learners. And that is how we can adjust any curriculum needs. We can figure out where we have any professional development needs for teachers. We can make sure that our curriculum and instruction efforts are as strong as they can be.
Any questions, Roland?
I don't have a question, I have a comment. I want to commend the district for putting together this, the assessment types, the purpose, and the calendar. So sometimes districts can get really caught up in over assessing students and not planning purposely, and then there's testing fatigue. So to be able to see the assessment types and the purpose, like for example, your diagnostic assessment is clear. Your immediate needs for peer support, right? Your benchmark assessments. One question that I have is the formative and summative assessments. How often are we giving teachers time to look at that assessment to adjust instruction?
So the big picture assessments, when you're thinking about benchmarking and progress monitoring, there are systems in place where we look at those every benchmarking window, and then probably 4 weeks after that for progress monitoring. When you're talking about formative and summative would be at the end of a unit or a segment of learning. Formative might be as we went along. When we watched the video of Mrs. Kelly, who's a first grade teacher, one of the things she was doing a formative assessment with some foundations pieces. The students were marking words. So that's how she tracks during her lesson so that's kind of ongoing. So if you have an assessment that's finite, that has a beginning and an end, it is worked within your grade level time, so that during a grade level meeting, if you're at an elementary building, your coaches will support looking at the data. What does this mean? What do we need to do next? What might we need to review? We have built into our curriculum also buffer days for math, as well as review days for ELA, to be able to go back based on that data, because it's never the same every year. We have to know where the students are and what we might need to review. And then that kind of helps that trajectory, because our curriculum maps and the instructional plans that we have are solid. And then the assessments help us make some specialized decisions for students.
That's good to know.
And it's not as flexible as it sounds, I guess, if that makes sense. It's very planned, yes. So, but you won't have to get to the end of a math unit and go, I don't know what to do because I know I need 2 extra days with this. You would have it. So you get to plan that as you're gathering that information on your students. And then we also have another time in the day at the elementary level where if there is that lingering skill that's still a problem, we do have a math opportunity block that we can put that into the rotation to review. So it is critical to look at all of these pieces of data. What are they telling us on behalf of our children and how we act?
Thank you very much, Ellen. And I'm going to ask Anna Capobianco to come up. And I'll let Anna introduce herself because the title is very long. She does lots of things.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Anna Capobianco. I'm the supervisor of professional learning and evaluation here in East Hartford Public Schools. It's not too long, the title. It's medium. I have the pleasure tonight of presenting to you a revision process update on the vision of the graduate. So for those of you, I'm womaning many things over here, so let's change those slides. So for those of you who are not familiar with a vision of the graduate, just to set some quick context, a vision of the graduate is a framework or statement that outlines skills, knowledge, attributes, and qualities of a school community that really sets the tone for and exemplifies what every student should possess upon graduation. So really it serves as a shared vision for student success, critical for guiding curricular development, instruction, and assessment. So it is our vision for where we want our graduates to end after their tenure in East Hartford Public Schools. So why we engaged in a review process for this year. First and foremost, the prior vision of the graduate was almost 10 years old. And as you are very aware, education changes rapidly. We needed our East Hartford Public Schools vision of the graduate to reflect current 21st century skills, evolving educational priorities, and really to cement the district's commitment to preparing our future-ready graduates. If you're familiar with our previous vision of the graduate, one piece that needed to change was that the prior vision of the graduate was summed as verbs. There were verbs like build, begin, become. So these were actions that we hoped the students would engage in. But it didn't represent a vision of where we wanted the graduate to be at the end of their time in East Hartford Public Schools and the attributes that we wanted them to possess. So the first step, and just to continue with our purpose, as education has evolved, we have noticed that there are more things than just academic knowledge that are demanded of our students. We all know how important social emotional learning is for our students, for young people, for adults as well. And we know that success requires more than just academic knowledge. It demands critical thinking, communication, collaboration, adaptability, and information and technology competence. It is on us as the schools and as a school system to ensure that our graduates are equipped to thrive in college, career, and life. And in understanding, accepting, and committing to these changes in the educational landscape, we too needed to evolve our vision of the graduate to reflect the changing landscape and to adapt our vision. So the first step in our process was to form a collaborative committee, which I co-chair with Matthew Ryan, principal of East Hartford High School. So in forming our collaborative committee, we sought to engage as many members of the educational community as possible. So our committee, which is quite large, includes, since this is still a work in progress, educators across grade levels and disciplines, students from East Hartford High School. We have 2 student representatives on the committee, and they are quite engaged and vocal, which is amazing. Community members, we do have an East Hartford Public School parent as a member of our committee. School and district administrators, and I'm remiss for not including this on the slides, but our superintendent, Thomas Anderson, is a member as well. Our second step in the process after we formed our collaborative committee was to examine the existing resources. So what was our current East Hartford Public Schools vision of the graduate? We also examined exemplars from other districts. So what are some of the vision of graduate statements, learner profiles, or vision of global citizen statements that surrounding schools in the state of Connecticut and in New England have already produced. We also looked at research on future-ready competencies and global competencies. Many universities and colleges have put out statements to the public and to schools of the attributes that they would like their incoming, students to, enter or matriculate their institutions having already gained. And so we looked at that as part of the committee to see what is it that colleges and careers are looking for in graduates. And then we examined those skills and the skills that would be needed for success in higher education, the workforce, and to be members of a global society. So those citizenship aspects as well. After we had examined these resources, we drafted and revised a new vision, which again is a work in progress. We generated potential competencies. We conducted multiple rounds of feedback and edits. We engaged in focused discussions to ensure equity, clarity, and relevance. And we ensured that our final draft, which as of this morning is not final yet, this is still an ongoing process, reflected shared values and priorities. As we worked collaboratively, what you'll see on the slides are the emerging attributes that were accurate until this morning, when we again decided to revise, and we do have another vision of the graduate meeting this Wednesday. So this is not a final draft. The final draft that you do see, will be formatted, and that will be forthcoming at the end of this process. But what you'll notice from these emerging attributes is, as opposed to the verbs that were previously articulated in the vision of the graduate, these are now nouns. So these words embody who the student will be. And then underneath each of these nouns, like navigator, analyst, innovator, or humanitarian, there are skills and attributes that then describe the noun. So for navigator, a student will be a navigator. That means they will be a self-motivated learner who takes initiative, is disciplined, and strives for continuous improvement. A little further down, an innovator, okay, is a student who will be a creative innovator who applies imagination and creativity to develop innovative solutions to real-world challenges. So again, these are the examples of the attributes that have emerged from about a year of work as a committee, but this is not the final draft. We will be refining this even further based on feedback that we have gathered from both the committee and from our partners within the school district. Our next steps, once we have finalized the vision, first will be to share and promote. So to communicate the revised vision of the graduate to students and families, to teacher and school staff, and to, of course, our community partners. After that, we will need to align our curriculum and instruction because the vision of the graduate is where we want students to be at the end of their time in East Hartford Public Schools. So our curriculum and instruction needs to prepare them to become the students that we say they will be when they leave here. So if we're going to revise our vision of the graduate, we too must revise our curriculum and make sure that the content that our educators are applying in the classroom, the assessments that we're giving, as Ellen just outlined, that they match the vision of the graduate. So we don't have a mismatch between who we say students will be and what we do to prepare them for that end goal. In addition, we'll need to make sure that not just our curriculum and course offerings, but our learning experiences foster the vision of the graduate competencies. As I mentioned, one of the primary shifts in our vision of the graduate work is the emphasis on some of the social emotional learning aspects that may not currently be present in our schools. So that will absolutely be learning experiences that we need to emphasize and embed in our work in the future year. And then embed the vision of the graduate in instructional practices, assessments, and our student reflection. At the end of this work, not finance yet. At the end of this work, the revised vision of the graduate will really become a foundation for our curriculum design, for our student goal setting, for our instructional improvement, and for the college and career readiness, so that together we will empower every student in EHPS to graduate ready to thrive.
Questions, comments?
This is exciting work, and I'm glad that you mentioned the connection with curriculum. I would love to see this work be or do like student-friendly language even at the elementary levels, and how does that look from K-5, middle school, high school? But this is some really nice work. Just a recommendation. Navigator, I was just like, ooh, consider pioneer.
It's Laura Slaughter, Laura Summer Committee. I love that. I'm going to write that down. And we are still wordsmithing. I will say maybe 50% of our time in the committee has been wordsmithing. Everyone has kind of an opinion on how they want it to look, but it's so amazing because we need to communicate in as few words as possible, and words are important. I was an ELA person, so words really matter. And we know that. So I love that suggestion. And I'm so happy that you brought up the elementary piece, because one of the aspects of the vision of the graduate that was missing in our prior iterations is that the vision of the graduate stood for East Hartford High School. It did not embody, and it did not even stand for SEVA, one of our other 9 through 12 schools. It did not embody the vision of a student at East Hartford Middle School. It did not embody a vision of a student at Goodwin Elementary. So when we formed our committee, the first thing we did was we brought in elementary leaders. We brought in elementary representatives. We brought in middle school, so that this vision of the graduate represents a student pre-K through 12. And we will absolutely work backwards to align the language so that any student can access this content and see themselves in the vision, because that's what it's about.
And even, like branching out into secondary school and women's school, because even though they serve a different population, they're still under the umbrella of. So this is
Both principals are on our committee. So. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Like that.
Yep, we believe there, T is gonna come up. We have our finance update. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Today I'm going to present the Q3 report. The Q3 report analyzes actual year-to-date with encumbrances. Encumbrances meaning expenses that we've allocated, however, we've not yet paid the invoices. We tie that out with our actual forecasting as well, and we get a good year-to-date number, our projection. Right now, we're currently projecting to end smoothly and successfully with a $346,000 capital reserve. Some of the accounts that are making up that amount are staff vacancies. Currently, we are at $1.8 million in staff vacancies. That's 3.22% of the general budget. Student services are over budget by $291,000. East Hartford Public Schools is currently fiscally responsible for 7 students that are residing in juvenile detention. So when we're talking about staff vacancies, that savings is all going to be netted out with our overages. Next one is special education services and tuition. Private placement ended Q2 with students outplaced, with 28 students outplaced. Q3 ended at 31 students outplaced, so 3 additional students were outplaced. For magnet and private placements, Q2 ended at 389 students, and Q3 ended at 394 students. That's totaling an over budget of $1 million in out-of-placement services and tuition. Now, magnet tuition is projected to bring in $617,000 in savings. This is mostly due to the tuition being capped at 58% of fiscal year 24 expenses. So that was a very big help for East Hartford Public Schools. In addition, our magnet cap grant is projected to come in at $2.6 million. That's a projection. We would know end of May really where that number lies. Utilities were netted out at 0. Electricity is over budget. However, gas and water, due to our projects that facilities are doing, are at a savings. Labor relations, legal fees have a high variability year to year with unknown of what needs may arise. Currently, the budget is $110,000. We have spent to date $89,000, so we have encumbered $32,000. However, we are projecting, just by trend analysis, to be over by $52,000. So an additional $52,000 of unknown expenses are projected to come in. Woodland revenue is projected at to be under $1 million. We've talked about Woodland every quarter, but Q2, we ended at 44 outplaced students coming in. And Q3, we are at 41. Currently, we are back to 44, so we gained our 3 students that we lost. We're going to keep this momentum going into fiscal year 26 and to really get in the revenue that we've projected for Woodland. Debt services. In 2011, the town and the board joined efforts in an energy efficiency project. The board has had to pay around $600,000 yearly. As you know, we've had a very challenging fiscal year 26 budget and due to all the cuts. So in order to save the general budget, we prepaid our debt services for next year. This saved the general budget $70,000. So we paid currently $633,000. If we waited until 7/1 to do this payment, we would have paid $703,000, and that's all the interest payments. So again, we are projecting to end the year at $346,000 in capital reserve, and that would hopefully go to our facilities department and IT department for capital reserve projects. Any questions?
For the 28 students that are, the special ed students that are being out, have we had discussions about programming in the district outside of Woodland School? I guess that's not out. Like I would love to see.
Yeah.
A placement perhaps in the team, the single digit between really high.
So that has been the lowest it's ever been. Last year, this time, we were at 45. So we have decreased it, thank you to Dr. Outhouse, and also Dr. Outhouse and his team have worked on many programs for autism at Norris, and we have been trying to bring students back. So this is the best it's ever been, but we will continue to keep up the momentum.
And maybe Dr. Ramos, maybe it's a lack of my knowledge, but it would be great to know what these programs look like in the district. Because I would love to know what you're doing. And then my other question is, since we're here at Goodwin, the basketball courts, the hoops in this neighborhood school, they need to be updated here. Thank you.
The 346,000 in capital reserves, it will go to the hoops, I promise you. I'm adding it in.
My question goes for the Head Start. We had a meeting a week ago, ECLC. They were waiting for $177,410.56 to be released from the federal government for the Head Start program. One, do we have a status on that? And two, do you have a game plan with, if it doesn't get released, what it's going to do with your end of year budget?
So if it does not get, I do not have a status, I could check on that. If it does not get released, then this $346,000 will be affected, the capital reserve. So that will just reduce our potential savings to future projects.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Because with that, we know it's challenging for districts and other government entities across the country. And that's where we need the support and the push from board members, local elected officials, others to continue pushing to make sure that those funds are released. It doesn't matter how we're in the situation or why, this is where we are. And we will have, that's what I was saying, we will have to cover that cost from our budget if those grant funds are not released. Good?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I get the clicker.
I think that's it.
I think the chair can get the mic. I'll get the clicker. And we'll run through these next.
Okay, I don't usually move much.
So as we look at and hear the different pieces so far up to this point, we look at how our plan is about coherence. And we talk about clarifying, having clarity, how we're measuring things, what's the most important, and what's the level of accountability, and what does that look like and how it stands. So when we talk about the vision of a graduate, but we also look at what is our strategic plan and how do all of these areas come together. We hear about finance and different programs that we've been working to add from a special education standpoint. But again, how are we measuring and how is everyone on the same page with that? So this is just part of our goal one, which is focuses mostly on the academic side, but what are those outcomes that are there? Again, just thinking about our overall process, and we're sharing this because as we're getting ready to close this year, but go into next year in terms of all of our planning, what is our thought process? What are we thinking about? How is it that everything that we're hearing and seeing tonight contributing and goes to part of that plan? Again, the focus, I've shared this before, but we always want to reiterate that we don't make change for the sake of making change. But we have to continue to, so don't make change for the sake of change. Not all change is destined to play out positively. We make it as we need it. We do not fix something that is not broken. The targeted data points. So these are 20 data points that school systems everywhere will have to touch. And so we look at the first one talking about literacy acquisition skills, and we think about how that's measured. And if we go down a little bit to say number 8, course pass rate. So what are those gatekeeper courses? When we're talking about what our graduation rates are on number 10, but we can't get the graduation if we're not checking how students are doing along the way, and what is the curriculum that they're being taught? How are we strengthening that and making sure that they're getting what they need? So again, as we go through here, PSAT, those other areas, when we think about the metrics of getting into college, but the overall piece is how are we preparing students to maximize the choices and opportunities that they have. So I share this piece because as we're looking in our planning, in our strategic plan process, each of these 20 data points are what school systems everywhere should be looking at. Now there are far more when we dig a little bit deeper, but having these 20, it has to say what's most impactful about what is here. It's always good to have a visual, so the progress. And so again, I'm always trying to show just because I can't bring you into the building, so sometimes I try to bring it a little bit to you. So we had one of our state legislators visit our school to see the tutoring program that we have. And so we're getting them to try to support us to hopefully secure the funding that we have for the current year to be able to run the program next year. We know that the Commissioner Tucker for the Department of Education had come in months earlier. And again, it's a sticking point for them to make sure that they were able to see how the program works firsthand. And again, as we're just getting a visual of how things are working with our youngest and our smallest who sit in the little seats. But also we're at the high school just showing a lot of the programs, so our career and technology programs that exist there, just the different opportunities that students go through the building, creating their own interviews and videos and those type of things, getting firsthand experience. So the lab that we have there, the Mac lab, to again, giving them that opportunity to shine and showcase the other talents that they have. Again, community partnership, we had a visit with the mayor being able to come because I think it's very important for those that vote on our budgets to be able to see what the need is and how it's being effectively used. And again, just in one of the other classrooms, being able to see the hands-on experiences about I'm not sure what part that is, but it belongs in the engine. So looking at the different things that students are being taught and being able to apply those skills. Again, Chief of Police, being able to get more firsthand information. So the encounter with our police department is more on a positive side versus some of the negative things that we hear that happen in other places. So again, we saw the automotive piece, but also remembering and knowing that students still have the opportunity for some of the carpentry side of work that exists right now in the high school. And all of these visuals are in the building. These aren't things that happened years ago or in some other building. These are in spaces that currently exist in our high school. And this young man has his robot that he's able to control with the remote control there. I'll save the video but being able to see how they're doing things and that very specific opportunity. Another young man explaining how his experiment was going to be working. So again, this car participated in a competition, I believe it was about almost 2 weeks ago at this point, and they improved from their finish. I think it was in Lakeville, Connecticut, so a little bit farther away. But you have competitors from all over the region. I believe there, at least last year, and I think this year again, there was a team that comes from Canada that also participates. Students did very well. They have to assess and troubleshoot anything that goes wrong with the car. So the adult is not supposed to engage in getting and fix it. But to see it in action would be very good. So the next opportunity we have, we can invite everyone over. I want to highlight this piece because this is in the Cultural Arts Building where we have our registration center. and just collaborating with the town and giving us that space there. It is a huge upgrade because that carpet is on top of a concrete floor that was there before. So we're thinking about the families who are entering the school system, but also entering the town, because on the opposite end that you can't see are other offices. I believe social services and the park and rec is, I think, upstairs around the corner. But all of the opportunities that parents have when they come into that building to engage with others to take care of those resources. And another space that we're able to use, the former senior center. So this was a workshop on customer service for all of the individuals that work in main offices and beyond. But just being able to have our own space to be able to do that has been a tremendous opportunity for us. And again, just, I think it's always important as far as the extracurriculars that students participate in. And we know we have a young man who this past weekend, he was nationally ranked indoors in the hurdles, and he did very well. This weekend has one of the fastest times in the state ever and has a couple of school records. And I could say that he broke the intermediate hurdle school record, which was the one that I've had since a long time. So it was very interesting for him to be able to do that. So the other piece, and I'll see if there are any questions. Again, just some of the updates. We heard a lot of information this evening. I was able to put this in, but earlier today we had the adaptive PE, I guess what we call it, kind of the, not so much a fair, but students who were going to be outside, field day. But it was a field day in the gym because, as we know, it rained all day. But the opportunity for those students to be in there and engage is very encouraging. It's very exciting to be able to see them, or participate. They were in our schools from across the district. We had the University of Hartford were the students that were in there supporting the activities and those type of things. And just one other reminder before I get to the college acceptances is the kindergarten welcome and backpack rally. I'm going to keep putting it out there for August 6th. So just so individuals remember, put that in the calendars, but also for kindergarten registration. We know we've been talking about it since February, but we need, for our families, we need the word to be spread. So we're getting a lot of it done now. So we're not waiting until those days in August and coming down to the wire, I guess we could say. And this one last piece is, again, congratulating our seniors at this time of year and just listing as many of the schools that they've been accepted to. And it is, we know that right now it's a little over 50, but last year the number will creep up to acceptances where it gets anywhere from 90 to over 100 different colleges and universities across the country that our students are accepted to. We heard from the young ladies earlier that they spent their entire academic career in East Hartford Public Schools, and we heard the way that they spoke about it. So I think we should always be encouraged, and we have, a future that continues to be good. Any questions? I know that was a lot. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we are now moving on to old business. So we had approved the consent calendars for items 1 through 25, removing 26, and items 27 and 28. So with that being said, do I have a motion to approve the items on tonight's consent calendar? Motion. Second. All in favor? Opposed? Discussions? Ayes have it. Thank you. Now continuing on old business, policy 9321 was on table for first read, time and place notice of meeting. So let me pull that up. It is on page 648. 648. If you paid a lotto, maybe you should. All right, so this policy is time and attendance for regular scheduled Board of Ed meetings. So there was a suggested edit to this policy that reads, all regular meetings of the Board of Education shall begin no earlier than 6 p.m. and shall adjourn no later than 9 p.m. unless extended of time certain by 2/3 vote of Board Education members. All regular Board Education meetings shall be held at the Connecticut IB Academy unless another school is selected for the meeting. The location of each meeting will be noted in a posted agenda. So, open it up for discussions. Questions or comments about this policy?
So I definitely think that the time and the place, I mean, obviously we can try and move the place, but the time being that, you know, we're all doing this at a volunteer basis and that we are elected, being in, or getting here, and the consensus was moving the time to an earlier time to bring family engagement to these meetings. This is the same group of people that we meet with every month. There's not really usually a good family engagement. There was talks about doing virtual options for parents to log in to remote, to talk to us directly and stuff like that. But to move the time even earlier, it's not really doing anything because we don't have the family engagement that we want. And then us working obviously every day, it's very hard and difficult to get here for a 5 o'clock meeting, 5:30 or 6. You know, at the end of the day, I really truly think this should stay at the 7 o'clock point because I really truly don't see any family engagement other than the normal board officials or superintendent's team. There's no other family engagement at this point.
Yep, so noted, so I just want to remind everyone that the first sentence is very important in this policy where it says the Board of Education meeting shall not begin earlier than 6 p.m. It's not saying that the time is going to be moved to 6 p.m. to 6:05. As of right now, it's still scheduled to be at 7 o'clock in June and August and September, October, etc. It's just saying the Board of Ed should not start any earlier than 6 p.m. for a regular meeting. Anyone else?
I think that the confusion too was because it seemed as if when we take our meetings to the community, that they begin at 6 o'clock, and I think that might have been a confusion. So they do not have to begin at 6 o'clock. They can still continue at 7 o'clock when we take them into the community. So I don't know if that clears anything up, but we should probably make some type of a movement to either adjust this or readjust this, the new wording back to 7 o'clock, or keep it in with an understanding knowing that our meetings, as long as they don't start before 6. So.
Revising the language.
I would just recommend revising the language, because I'm in agreement with the 7 o'clock start.
And so for the revision, do we want to, are we okay with the regular scheduled Board of Education meeting shall not start no earlier than 6, or do we just want to say we should not start no earlier than 7? No earlier than 7, okay. 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 To discussion. Anyone else? Okay. So it looks like there is an amendment to this policy that all regular Board of Education meetings should not begin no earlier than 7 p.m. and shall adjourn no later than 9 p.m. unless extended to time certain by 2/3 votes of the Board of Education. All regular meetings of the board should be held at the Connecticut IB Academy unless a school is selected for a meeting and the location of the meeting will be posted on the agenda. Everybody good with that language? Okay, so we're all in agreement with the language. Do I have a motion to approve the changes to policy 9321 to reflect the Board of Education meeting shall not begin no earlier than 7 p.m. All in favor? Opposed? Any discussions? Ayes have it. So for community members, and you see the press is here, our goal is still to continue on with this road show where we will be going out into our schools to encourage families to participate. Mr. Superintendent Anderson is looking into how we can stream it so that our families can also watch it at home. So we will still continue on with this practice, but with the understanding of where we're at. So going forward, with this policy that was approved tonight, when we go out into the community schools to have our meetings, they will begin at 7 p.m. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to new business. It's just going to be Tia for the review and approval of the contract, Finance Director to execute on behalf of the Board of Education. For some services. No. Oh, Nicole, okay, sorry. It says Finance Director.
So I'm here to ask for your approval to award a contract for substitute services. The East Hartford Public Schools uses substitute services to provide temporary support on an as-needed basis to fill staff vacancies. We engaged in the RFP process in February and received 7 responses. Our ranking of these vendors is based on the quality of the RFP responses, relevant experience, reference, and pricing. We are looking to award a 3-year contract with a 2-year extension to Kelly Services. Kelly is our current substitute service provider and has been our substitute provider for 19 years. Kelly has provided excellent service with personalized account management, year-round recruiting to ensure that our schools are operating at full capacity. We are excited to continue our partnership and ask for your approval of this contract renewal.
Motion to approve contract award authorization of County Services 1877-25. Motion second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this 4 policies, facilities meeting, we did meet on Tuesday, right? We met. Yeah. So we met and looked over all of the contracts, went over the plans, and approved to refer to tonight's board meeting for final approval by the full board. Mr. Anderson, do you just want to approve, or you want to do an update?
No, I since Jim's not here, I can cover it unless you're good with.
Yeah, I think Chris, you want to?
There's 3 items that we were getting money back.
That is correct.
From the state, from what we're putting out. There was one award of a project at the high school.
Yep, that is.
I'm okay with it, but that's okay. You want to read it?
So essentially, what Vanessa and Chris was talking through is that one of the recommendations from one board member Annabelle was to kind of recap what is discussed at our subcommittee meeting. So at our subcommittee meeting, I'm going to go ahead and take it, Chris. You want to do it? All right, so I'll do it. So we talked about the Annie Norris Elementary School abatement project. So again, that project was to do some of the abatement work over at Annie Norris Elementary School. It's a contractor that we are familiar with good reviews, good success with that contractor, so we were comfortable moving forward. Same thing at the East Hartford Middle School, the Hawkingham Steam Tunnel. We saw pictures. Some of us who was on the board maybe 2 years or 3 years ago when we discovered there was a leak, and then we discovered that there was something going on with that steam abatement, so we had to go through that project, and it was credited back to that work that was done. And of course, finally addressing the East Hartford High School Library Media Center HVAC roof replacement top. It's another project that has been on the books for a while, and I'm finally moving that project forward to full board tonight. So what I'll do is I'll do a approval for each of the items in lieu of us trying to do it in one motion. So with that being said, do we have a motion to approve the Norris Elementary School floor abatement project? We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Questions? Ayes have it. Thank you. We have a motion to approve the acceptance of the completion of project 0430251 East Hartford Middle School floor abatement state project. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Do I have a motion to approve project Hockenham Steam Tunnel Abatement Project State Project Bid 0430250? Motion and a second. All in favor? Ayes have it. Thank you. And do I have a motion to approve the award contract authorization for our East Hartford School Library Media Center HVAC roof replacement state project 043003 HVACN? Motion and a second. All in favor? Questions? Ayes have it. All right. Are there any concerns or comments by board members? All right.
I just wanted to share a brief story. This morning, I went with Mr. Anderson to Norris Elementary School, and when we went there, the principal, I can't pronounce the last name, sorry. For the staff, the first thing that you see when you walk in there to the left on the bulletin board is how sweet it is to have a staff like you and like little candies and everything. And she had a whole table set up with treats, and then she was so thrilled to tell me that she did chocolate dipped pretzels she's bringing in tomorrow. So there's a lot of appreciation over at Norris for the staff.
Thank you for that update.
I have a question for Dr. Outhouse. Do we participate in any Special Olympics unified sports aligned with CAS?
Yes, I think there has been discussion about expanding up to other grades. It's strong on that.
More so on the secondary level. Okay. It would be nice to expand it to elementary. I just attended the Special Olympics at Conard on Saturday, and there were probably 15 elementary schools that participated across the state. And it was just such a heartwarming event to be able to spend just a couple of hours and to see kids helping each other and working through. And it would just be a really nice opportunity for our students to also be seen in a different environment, knowing that we have 21% of our students in special.
Yes.
First of all, I want to say it's amazing being here in this school today. My two children started kindergarten here, right on through East Hartford High School graduates, and it's just amazing what they've learned, what they have been able to accomplish in life because of the lessons that they've learned here. And thank you, Mr. Broder, for being a principal that is involved with the students and cares about the students. Thank you for that. And to piggyback on what Annabelle was saying regarding Special Olympics, the Parks and Rec has a great program, Special Olympics project that happens during the summertime. Well, they actually do Winter Olympics too, but during the summertime, and the Commission on Services for Persons with Disabilities is involved with that. So maybe it would be something that we could, hook up with Parks and Rec and schools to see, if there's any information or anything that we can share as a team, as a town. Great.
Thank you. Anyone else? Are there any topics for future agendas? Very nice, Cena. And may I have a motion to adjourn? Motion is second. All in favor? Ayes have it. Thank you. Have a good night. See you in June. Graduate.